Thank you, Alan, and thank you, IATA, for this fantastic opportunity to be able to speak. I speak to you today in my capacity as chairman of the Airlink's Governors Council, and in a few minutes, Steve Smith, who's our president and CEO, will also address you. Airlink connects airlines and non-profits to deliver responders and supplies in the wake of natural disaster and other humanitarian crises worldwide. Airlink is a charitable organisation based in Washington, D.C., harnessing the power of flight to deliver to those in need. These past days, we have discussed safety, technological advancements, strategies and opportunities to improve our industry, to better serve our customers, to improve our professionalism and position ourselves individually and collectively as IATA members, to consider how best we can have an impact on people's lives. The opportunity Airlink has been given today is for you to consider how we use our collective resources and global reach to help those affected by disaster. Airlink mobilizes the aviation industry effectively, enabling disaster response through flight. Airlink is a product of the aviation sector. Our industry is a global network, airlines working together to help respond to natural disasters, a shared mandate. Our aim is not to replace the efforts all of you individual companies provide through your own resources, rather to complement those efforts by facilitating the connectivity between our industry and the NGOs. What have we done over the last few years since our inauguration? We have responded to over 400 crises, delivered many or nearly £3 million worth of cargo. 4,725 responders have been transported. 117 non-profit organisations supported through 41 airline partners have delivered over $7 million of value. Some examples: 2010, the Haiti earthquake; 2011, Japan earthquake and tsunami; 2012, flooding in Peru; 2013, typhoons in the Philippines; 2014, West Africa Ebola; 2015, Nepal earthquake; and 2016, Ecuador earthquake; 2017, the USA and the Caribbean hurricanes; and 2018, the Greek and Bangladesh refugee crisis. Airlink was built to understand the humanitarian side of disaster response, to serve as a conduit between the airline and non-profits, making humanitarian response simpler for the airlines to ease human suffering. Airlines' knowledgeable, experienced staff is able to connect the key touch points that link between airlines and non-profits. Airlink also brings great value to those airlines through a seamless coordination with CSRs, positioning airlines as an active participant in a humanitarian work. Humanitarian logistics are complex. Connect with Airlink and allow us to partner the industry's combined talent to use those precious resources in times of dire human suffering, caused through no thought of their own. We make a difference, and this short video is typical of the work that we can achieve. Thank you.
When an earthquake decimated Nepal, it took a logistical miracle to bring in critical supplies to those in desperate need. There was little time to waste. Relief organizations turned to Airlink.
Within 24 hours, we had people in the air on the way. We sent 100 relief workers into Nepal. We also sent cargo, a very difficult place to get to.
Ultimately, Airlink was able to help transport those tents to Nepal, and they were able to make a huge difference for the folks that were in greatest need there of shelter.
When Ebola swept through West Africa, most commercial flights were canceled, leaving relief groups frantically searching for a way to get help in.
I spoke with Steve, told him what we wanted to do, and he was able to arrange free freight for these supplies. There was a tremendous amount of supplies, medicines, thousands of course treatments of IV fluids, which are critical for treating Ebola, face masks, gloves, things like that, really life-saving supplies in this situation. So I was able to meet this shipment of supplies, and it was tremendous.
Airlink is just that, a link connecting relief organizations with airlines worldwide, finding seats and cargo space to get aid workers and essential supplies on the ground.
I think for the Ebola crisis in particular, we were literally able to save hundreds of thousands of dollars through a relationship with Airlink, and the money we saved goes right back into the response, into the recovery.
Saving money, and just as critical, saving time.
It's really important in an emergency that you move as quickly as you can. So you've got to have these things done beforehand, and Airlink has those relationships. They can move very quickly to get supplies and people on the ground where they're needed.
It's a dynamic partnership with everyone playing a role in relief operations.
We feel that Airlink has great impact for a small an organization as it is able to make a big difference with the resources that it has at its fingertips.
We're going to continue to work with Airlink whenever we can to provide people and supplies more efficiently, and faster to places in need around the world.
Within humanitarian aid, there are no competitors. We're all on the same side. We will come together.
Through dependable partners, leadership, and logistics expertise, Airlink is there every step of the way.
Thank you. As you just saw in that video, Airlink is about mobilizing the aviation sector to send help in those critical days and weeks after following a rapid onset disaster, to places around the globe to provide humanitarian relief where airplanes are uniquely suited to deliver disaster response. It's about combining our roots as a global aviation humanitarian network and the role that Airlink can play as your valued partner in coordinating these efforts for relief organizations to deliver that disaster response. According to the UN Disaster Monitoring System, since 1970, the number of disasters worldwide have quadrupled to around 400 a year now. So whether it's an ongoing refugee crisis, destructive weather events, or a pandemic, I know firsthand how passionately airlines and the aviation sector want to help. And on behalf of the humanitarian sector, I want to thank you for all that you're doing. You and your airlines are making it possible for Airlink's disaster response NGOs to establish clean water supply after the flooding in Peru, to help recover after cyclones in American Samoa, to train refugees to provide community health care services for other refugees in Bangladesh, to help people suffering through famine in South Sudan by transporting life-saving medicines. It is both the speed and the continuity of response that makes a difference for people in peril. For a natural disaster, this includes the immediate days and weeks after an earthquake, a tornado, the floods, and now volcanic eruptions. The UN reports that 130 million people globally are in need of ongoing assistance. Assistance that, as a global aviation humanitarian network, we can deliver. Having a regional response framework among partners that includes professionally coordinated, immediate access to airline and logistics resources help NGOs respond and get to more people quickly. Now here's the impact that we can make. When one of our disaster response NGOs, for example, Mobile Medics International, a group of volunteer doctors and nurses, know they have the airlift support, they can deploy more teams, and they can deploy more teams more quickly. When they land, these volunteer doctors and nurses will often hike long distances to remote communities where people have been displaced that have chronic health conditions. They've lost access to their daily medication. They can't reach the hospitals because the roads are impassable and the infrastructure is damaged. Mobile Medics International and others like them will save lives. Our job is to get them there. In fact, thanks to the support of many in this room, Airlink sent a significant number of teams into the Caribbean to help after last year's compounding hurricane season. But I can't tell you how many more we could have sent if we had more advanced commitments from airlines upon which we could count. The humanitarian sector is struggling to keep up with an ever-increasing demand for assistance. Couple that with the fact that 80% of all humanitarian funding is spent on the supply chain. I think that means that aviation as a whole has a tremendous opportunity to make a material impact in helping people. Airlink is taking a lead role engaging both airline and NGO disaster response organizations to partner together in innovative, impactful ways to tackle our mutual problems during these events: supply and demand, cost and capacity, efficiency and effectiveness. Airlink was conceived by aviation for aviation to serve as a coordinating expert on both logistics and the humanitarian side of the equation, so that as an industry, we could all work together to leverage and pool our unique resources to help. But not unlike any other disaster response or business process, we need to plan in advance. A recent report from the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent states a need to focus on anticipating humanitarian disasters. A similar report around the same time from the UN states that for every dollar spent in preparedness, $7 are saved in disaster response, with a particular focus on logistics. And so that's what Airlink is doing, and that's why we're here today. To ask for your partnership in a global humanitarian response network that seeks to align the capacity of the aviation sector with the demand of those areas at high risk around the globe. The vision for Airlink, as designed by many of you in this room, is that together we can create a super network of airlines to help disaster responders and their supplies get to where they need to go quickly, and provide transportation resources that would otherwise be cost prohibitive to many organizations vital to disaster response. The vision that Airlink would serve as a humanitarian disaster response department, if you will, across this super airline network, coordinating demand for passenger and cargo airlift, while at the same time helping your teams understand, prioritize, support, and maximize the impact of that support. In short, Airlink is here to make it simpler for us all, while at the same time minimizing the burden on your operation. So here's what I would ask each of you in the room to consider. Consider how and where Airlink might help your airline or your organization in preparing to support the next humanitarian disaster. Consider how being an ongoing or established partner with Airlink in a preemptive regional response framework that supports your network and therefore supports the communities in which you serve can be an asset for you. Consider when a natural disaster strikes, while your staff is focused on carrying out its core business, how tapping into Airlink's humanitarian expertise can help coordinate the demand of incoming NGO requests, while at the same time help you achieve your corporate social responsibility and humanitarian objectives. Consider coming to talk to us for the remainder of the AGM at our stand outside to the right, or have someone on your team contact us. I thank you for your time and attention, for the work that you're already doing, And I thank IATA for its support and partnership and for giving us this tremendous opportunity to address you today. Thank you.